Took on Dragunov?
Cesaro was there. Huh?
Cesaro, man, yeah.
I like that Dragunov guy.
The red eyes.
Yeah, he's a pretty...
I'm really iffy on guys with the contact lenses, and we'll get back into that when we get to AEW about Shawn Spears. It's got to be done right. Like, I like Rey Mysterio's contacts. It works for him.
No.
And even, yeah, I know. But, like, if that's going to be your shtick, your gimmick, make it make sense. And right now, I don't get why Dragunov, other than the name Dragon, has red eyes. It doesn't...
It's kind of like... crazy, I guess.
So crazy means contact lenses. Also, it always worries me when they have contacts that someone's going to big boot them in the face and get a contact, a crack in the middle of the match. Same with piercings. Every time Billy Gunn would go out there with piercings in his ear, I'd be like, someone's going to rip that out.
Yeah, Same with Raven, like especially in ECW and like New Jack when they had like the shit in there.
Yeah, Raven. Oh yeah, Today's day and age, I'm surprised Orton didn't try and pull. He just did the earring to Jeff, or the plug. Yeah, anyway, so we had the one I really want to talk about. This tag team match that NXT UK had was probably the best tag match I've seen in a year. And that's saying something, because we have some really good tag teams out there. But this match had almost the feel of the ENC, Dudleys, and Hardys to it. This was, let me make sure I got all the names right. This was Mark Andrew and Flash Morgan Webster taking on Grizzled Young Vets, who I actually really like. They grew on me. Grizzled Young Vets and Gallus. This was a solid all-around match, and you had Mark Andrews and Morgan Webster come out as the winners, as tag champs. I definitely think it's something they're going to build upon.
Well, I mean, I even like how they built up to getting into that match.
Right. I mean, this is definitely the brand that everyone ignores in terms of wrestling. It's UK. It's British. They're boring. Like it's not though. It's very entertaining. As we had. What was the guy we booked?
McManus.
Max
McManus.
Max McManus. You know, there's a different style in wrestling. British strong style. British style is a bit different from lucha, from American fighting. You know, but good stuff.
I mean, see, and like it goes back to that question we had last week. You know, if GCF's ever gonna leave SoCal. I mean, we go international. You know,
right?
We had Mariachi Loco. We had Max McManus.
We had the Russian this past show.
We had the Russian
Maxim Mirasov.
I mean, I don't
just
know
say it.
I mean,
Maxim.
Maximus. Maxim Morozov.
Maksim. Maxim Morozov.
I mean, I don't know who paid for his flight, but I mean, he showed up.
We had him take on the German
Gusten
Uberstad. Look at that. We go all over.
We all around the world, baby.
Why would we have to expand? We bring them to us.
Yeah.
But yes, we would love to expand.
I mean,
let me just go off on a tangent there.
Yeah,
NXT UK, there was quite a few. You had Joe Coffey and Dan Mastiff in a last man standing match.
I like Dave Mastiff.
He's very Vader-esque.
Yeah. He can move too, man.
He can definitely move. His cannonball is on par, if not better than KO's.
Yeah, definitely better.
You know, then the main event, which really, this is going to be one that, with a few years, you're going to come back to. Walter taking on Tyler Bate. That match where everyone looks at it and goes, "Oh, Tyler's a little pipsqueak in comparison."
But that's the crazy thing. Catching up on NXT UK, they didn't build it as that. They didn't build it as all Walter sees him as like some little guy who can't beat him.
No, he's a big strong boy.
Yeah, like these guys are equal, equal to each other. Like,
absolutely.
And that's what's cool about British wrestling is it doesn't. It's not like here where we're just like, oh, Rey Mysterio can't beat the Big Show in real life.
The problem with, and I'm not even going to bring up the quote again that Zack Sabre said, but the problem with British wrestling in compared to American is it's very thought out. Everything is done for a reason, very arduously planned. You have to really be invested in it. And a lot of the American audience isn't going to sit there and take the time to watch an entire card of that. But I like it. It's very cool. I mean, you have guys, look at any of the William Regal stuff in the past. Regal in his time probably wasn't one of the best thought of wrestlers, but now he cheered every time anyone sees him.
He's
Go back and see his stuff. They're classics. Maybe not the... See, even a Finlay, and I know that's not British, but that style is very...
Yeah, like European style wrestling. Like, I think that's why Cesaro doesn't get enough credit.
Oh, absolutely. Cesaro's very
that's the style of wrestling,
and will probably be his whole career.
And Cesaro was there too. Did we mention that?
Yeah, Cesaro showed up and took on Dragunov.
Yeah, it was.
I love British style. This NXT UK is usually an afterthought because of the network. However, what I'm going to say is, if there's one plus coming out of NXT moving to broadcast television, maybe it's time for NXT UK to get the push on the WWE network. It's now going to be one of the only, what do you call it? The only place to see it is WWE Network, which used to be the good thing about NXT. Now that it's it's losing kind of that appeal.
Yeah, my only concern with it is with the move to NXT, they might bring up like Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate.
I mean, yeah, well, and that's the point.
Like they might bring up the bigger names to come in NXT.
When Walter went over at the end, it definitely felt like a
farewell,
like Tyler Bate. Going away. When you had the all of Mustache Mountain, all British Strong Style come out, hug, do the sign.
I mean, and good on them. I mean, they've been exposed to the American crowd before, like not just in WWE, but like before. Like they get pretty good reactions. Like people know who they are, so it wouldn't be foreign to really have them in NXT. I mean,
true.
Pete Dunne had a North American title match at the last takeover, so I mean, like the fans know who he is,
right?
But it's just gonna kind of suck for NXT UK because now they have to find new stars to build.
Well, and I don't think that's a problem for them. They have a lot to work with that they haven't introduced yet. Mm-hmm. But it's NXT UK's time to shine now that NXT's the third brand. It's not a minor league anymore. It's going to be Raw, SmackDown, NXT. So let NXT UK take some of the reins there.
That's fair. And how do you feel about them bringing like main roster guys over to NXT and NXT UK with Cesaro being there? You think they did that for like to get the draw to get people to watch?
Finn Balor has now shown up twice to NXT UK, so as long as it has that feel, it makes sense. It's a European wrestler doing it.
Yeah, I don't know sending the Miz.
Right. I don't think it would have the same effect to it if Bo Dallas or someone showed up on NXT.
If Bo Dallas showed up on NXT UK, that might be a spectacle to see.
There can be like one American, but just don't overdo it.
No, you send John Cena there, he buries everybody.
Don't ever send a Roman. Don't even send a Sammy. It's not worth it.
I would like to see
I know
Sammy.
that Sami Zayn's style would fit, but I just think don't send someone with that name power over, which I guess is knocking Cesaro a bit.
Yeah. I would send Shinsuke over.
I could see that.
To UK.
No.
Or, there's a couple guys I can think of that I would
someone
send over.
Both could benefit from it and benefit the brand, which is what they've done so far. I like that. But yeah, so NXT UK, very impressive.
It's a good show. Woke up early to see it.
Yeah, it was on 10 in the morning, I think.
Oh, man. It was just a long day of wrestling yesterday.
Which brings us to the second half. AEW All Out. Did it live up to the hype?
Yes, because CM Punk didn't show up, and I ended up being very relieved.
Did you think he was going to?
It was in the back of my mind, especially the way the main event ended.
Well, okay, so let's talk that before even getting into detail on AEW. CM Punk had his live showing, right? His whatever you want to call it
for Starrcast weekend.
Starrcast held an event where CM Punk live crowd. I don't know what to say there. I didn't think Punk was going to show up. However, it's nice to hear that he wasn't such a dick in front of the live crowd.
That's always good to hear.
He was actually humble. He took the questions seriously-ish. And when they asked him about WWE return, basically said never say never. However, he lived his dream. He did everything. He's brushed off the past and said essentially that he would take a call from them just to hear them out. I don't want that to happen. I don't. You did do everything in your career, and you ruined it. Okay. You ended your career in a fashion that, looking back, is able to say your career was done. In a good way. You did do everything you wanted. If you were going to hold out to the hope of main eventing a Mania after the career you had, don't worry about it. There's guys that never main evented Mania.
He had main event caliber matches.
Yeah, you versed Taker at Mania. That is arguably the main event of any Mania.
I mean, yeah, like his last
you have a Hall of Fame career. Yeah. So if anything,
he had Randy Orton, Jericho, and Taker.
Yeah. If anything, take the call so that you can get your Hall of Fame ring and call it a day.
Get your Legends contract.
Take an announcer's job, like I said a week ago.
Get all those network
You're a great
residuals.
announcer. You're not a great fighter. Just take the announcer job.
Damn.
Have some fun.
I mean, he's an all right fighter. I mean, I'd beat his ass. Like I'll put that out there right now. I'd beat CM Punk's ass, but that's just me.
So see, proof that I don't watch. Cassius Ohno is doing all right in NXT UK.
Cassius Ohno
that's very
is
cool.
in the UK?
I think he fits it. I haven't seen him personally on that show. I haven't kept up enough. I need to get back into it. But if he's there, I'm all for that.
All right, Cassius.
That's a proper
Ohno.
fit.
Okay.
It is. Well, he was never going to do anything on NXT. Let's be real. He's essentially there for life.
I think it's
Triple H is never going to let him. If they put him on the main roster, they would stick him with a fat gimmick. That's the truth, because that's what they think of him.
No, because he should have been Roman.
Yeah, and if he had lost the weight that they wanted him to, and I don't know if there might be a whole thyroid disorder there, is the rumor too. I'm not even going to mock that.
I mean, there's a lot of thigh there. Pause.
But he was never going to get. He's never going to get to call up to the main roster, and now I don't even look at it as a call up anymore.
Yeah, no.
NXT is the third brand. However, I say go to UK. Stick with UK. I think that's good for him. He's an indie darling. He would do great.
And I heard like the cost of living in the UK is pretty nice. So I mean, I'd do it.
I would do it.
I would do it.
So yeah, that was. Let's just keep going backwards. That was the thing on Punk, though. He let it go, and he even told the crowd, "Don't expect to see me." And of course, he's in Philly, so the crowd's gonna sit there and chant for Punk and hold their breath, thinking that he was gonna come out there with Cody. Didn't happen.
Or attack Jericho.
And if it didn't happen last night, it didn't happen when Jericho won the title, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen October 2nd.
So we'll see what WWE does with that. I don't see Vince making the offer. I definitely don't see Triple H making the offer.
I can see Paul Heyman just be like, see? He said we could call him.
Well, AEW will take this match by match-ish.
Match by match. Shout my girl Jazz, baby.
Knew you would like that.
My girl Jazz.
A very bald Jazz made an appearance in the
look like one of my aunties.
Tennille. Tennille Dashwood.
Tennille.
I always get that name
Priscilla Kelly.
Priscilla Kelly. Roddy Piper's daughter. Do not remember her first name.
My girl Nyla Rose.
And the winner of this match was Nyla Rose.
Did I say my girl?
You
I mean,
did.
she's not like my girl. Like, I mean, she cool. Like,
let's leave it at that.
Yeah,
Nyla Rose won the Battle Royal, so she will be one of the women to challenge for the women's title. I believe on the debut show of AEW.
Yes.
Very cool.
She's going against Riho.
Deadly little Riho. Yeah.
That can be taken out of context very bad.
Riho is going to be that surprise hit that no one, including myself, expected. So you have Lil Riho taking on Nyla.
She's not even. She's just
in comparison.
She's just a Japanese girl.
Jesus.
Like she's not little. Like she's a small.
So
Japanese
Nyla
girl.
Rose versus Riho on the first show. That could be a very good match. I think it's going to surprise some people, myself included.
We could see.
I was kind of surprised with the hype for Jazz. They didn't do more with her. She had her standoff with Nyla and Awesome Kong, and then got eliminated.
Is she signed to AEW?
I don't know. Well, yeah, because didn't she give up the NWA Women's title?
That's right.
She forfeited it after holding it
and
for
she held it for like
18
10 years.
It's very easy to hold a title that you don't defend, is all I'm going to say.
Dang. Yeah, Bob Backlund, you motherfucker.
I'm glad you support me. A lot of people disagree with me on that. Bob Backlund is the worst champion in history.
Listen, and
Saint said it. It's the truth.
I was never the biggest fan of early 90s wrestling because, it's
Give
not my
me
thing.
Great Khali over Bob Backlund, which
That's
is saying
stretch.
something.
Give me
David Arquette. Give me David Arquette now.
Give me Jinder Mahal back. Shit. Yeah, I said it. I was the only fan of Jinder Mahal in the WWE
I enjoyed
title.
the Jinder run, which was a question, so I guess we can answer that now. I forget how it was worded, but essentially that. Who's someone that you enjoyed as champion that no one else supported? So there
I'd
you go.
say I enjoyed it.
It started off as a good run. Jinder Mahal surprised. Well, I shouldn't say started as a good run. Jinder Mahal's reign was what it needed at the time.
It definitely made
because
him
it gave
better,
that feeling
yeah.
of like, oh my god, no one thought at all he was going to do this.
Yeah.
So for that was what it was, and then it
Shout out
burnt
Randy
out.
for giving him the rub. I mean, he had to kill the Bollywood boys in the process.
I mean, shout out to those two guys in general for putting over Jinder for as long as he was champion, and even after.
Shout out my guy Jinder.
Bollywood boys should have been
Young
tag
king.
champs by now, and the fact that 205 Live doesn't have tag titles and will probably be canceled soon anyway.
Who's the cruiserweight champion?
Drew Gulak.
Oh, really?
Drew Gulak is the cruiserweight champion.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Shows
And
how
his-
much I watch 205 Live.
Well, here's the problem with 205 Live right now is you have a GM, and there are no other GMs.
Shout out
so
my guy
how
Drake Maverick.
How did Drake Maverick get to keep his job when storyline they fired all the GMs?
Shout out my guy TJ Suave.
Hi, TJ. But so you have Drake Maverick as GM, and yet he's running around chasing after the 24/7 title.
Leaving his wife, too.
So that's a little ridiculous.
Leaving
Why-
his ridiculously fine wife.
What is her name? Who is a trained wrestler.
She is definitely a trained wrestler.
Don't remember Drake Maverick's wife's name.
I don't know
She
her
was in
name. I just
the tournament that they had, the Mae Young Classic.
She was in the Mae Young
Do not
Classic.
remember her name, but yes, Drake Maverick's wife is actually talented. They just don't utilize her like they don't utilize quite a few. But let's get back to.
I would
I don't know how we got on gender run and all that. We were on
because we were
AEW.
shitting on Bob Backlund.
Yeah, I'll get back into that later
someone's
when I
angry
bring out
about
our
that.
guest too, Bob
yeah,
Backlund.
Did I say we were shitting on Bob Backlund?
AEW last night, we had Nyla Rose win the right to challenge for the title. So Nyla versus Riho will be at the first show October
Second.
2nd.
Live.
They still haven't announced that it's called Dynamite yet, by the way.
Wednesday Night Dynamite
Is the rumor,
not feeling
and
it, fam.
it already has such a Nitro feel to it. Like, that's funny, but I would not name it that as a permanent show.
Were they like in the meeting? and
You
they
know
were just
Cody
like,
was doing it. Like,
hey,
you know what my dad would do?
Yeah.
And that was but
It's like, so my dad had a meeting with Ted Turner when they made Nitro, right? And they were just like, all right, but if Nitro fails and we bring it back, what's something that's just like Nitro, but it's not? And Dusty was like, Dynamite, baby.
is that your Dusty?
Yeah.
No, baby, that's the American dream. Dustin Rhodes. Come on. You had every once in a while I like to break RJ on.
See, I mean, I do a mean Ric Flair impression.
Oh, there
when
you
I'm
go.
Drunk, though.
So Nyla Rose versus Riho is going to do that. You had Private Party, who is a tag team that wasn't well known. I'll give them all the credit. They versed Jack Evans and Angelico from Lucha Underground.
Oh, sorry.
That was a very good match. Private Party is definitely probably going to be one of the contenders.
Their
going
finisher's
forward.
dope, too.
It was a series of RKOs, wasn't it?
Basically.
So
But
it's
it's like
a
Hurricane
super
Rana.
kick party, but RKO
Yeah,
party.
it's a Hurricane Rana into an RKO.
Not bad. A lot of that stuff you'll see on AEW. I hope they don't overdo that.
With Private Party, though,
I'm not going to go into everything on that card. What I will say, the shocker, you had Pac filling in. You had Pac, or Pac as the announcers call it, which I have a problem with.
Because
Pac
Jim
filling
Ross
in for Dean not his name. What is Dean Ambrose's name?
John
Moxley had to pull out because of his elbow that got infected.
Got a staph infection.
In the elbow. Yeah. So, last minute, he took himself off the card. He had to. Pac replaced him to take on Kenny Omega. The shocker there being Pac got the win. Now, I mean, I was happy, but a lot of people are asking themselves why he got the win when he essentially no-showed the first show. If you listen to the rumors, it was that he didn't want to lose to Hangman to begin with.
Well, yeah.
But now he came back to defeat Omega.
Yeah,
so,
Pac definitely Austin Aries himself into this AEW thing.
I mean, I love Pac. I think he's done great things since being away from WWE. It's been nothing but good. He is the current Dragon Gate champion.
And I remember Tony Khan said that they wanted to do big things with Pac and give him a big push. Not necessarily world champion, but they wanted to make Pac one of their top heels, which I think MJF is doing a great job at. I mean, MJF is getting a lot of flack because he's coming off as too much of an asshole, but
MJF is doing exactly what he should be doing.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I think the biggest thing of the weekend was that Starcast, there's a kid in a wheelchair.
Oh, I did
asked him a question.
And he, in character, I should say this, and then tweeted it out.
I shouldn't be laughing.
He's being a bully. It's how you book yourself as an actual bully.
You know.
You had the normal appearances from the indie darlings as well. Orange Cassidy did a run-in, which was very funny. I'm afraid that Orange Cassidy is not going to transfer well to a broad audience in AEW. I love his stuff. It's kind of hard to describe why everyone's cheering for someone doing so minimal, but that's the gimmick. You know, his hands are in his pocket the entire time while he's doing it. But he's very talented and very funny. So it works.
I saw a caption on Twitter where it was a picture of the best friends hugging him, and it was Weekend at Bernie's 2. This time Bernie's son is dead. And I laughed hard for that. That was great. I love wrestling Twitter.
On top of that, you had, let's talk the big 3 final matches. You had Cody taking on Shawn Spears. Now, the match itself was not that great, I'll be honest.
You're saying that match wasn't a perfect 10?
Nothing with Shawn Spears involved except his wife.
Oh, damn!
But Cody taking on Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears came down to the ring with Tully Blanchard, which was a very cool moment. One of the Horsemen. In the match, you had the appearance of Arn Anderson,
the Horseman,
who hit a spinebuster on Shawn Spears, which was the biggest moment of that match. One of the bigger moments of the night. What I will say there,
Tully Blanchard awkwardly.
Tully Blanchard, to his credit, I don't think he can bump quite as well anymore, so he didn't take too much of the beating. But then, he awkwardly walked away after the spinebuster. Not even chased. He followed after Arn, but then the camera showed them each go opposite directions. So to me, I'm like, why did you just show 2 old men, essentially be like, all right, bye, and walk 2 different ways on a wrestling show?
I miss you, man.
For no apparent reason. All right, good seeing you.
AEW's still working out these production kicks, man. These guys haven't been working since 2001, bruh. TNT is still dusting off the it's been a long time, all right?
Truth.
Some of these guys forgot what wrestling was. Some of these guys were still hoping Goldberg walked in, or at least Conan. These guys aren't here anymore.
No.
Can we at least get Billy Kidman? Or,
Kidman's still a producer.
Any member of 3 Count?
Shannon
Glacier?
Moore is still active. We're talking about 3 Count. They had Glacier on their last Battle Royal.
That's true.
Anyway, they filed 2 matches on that card, and then we'll get back into broader things. You had Lucha Brothers take on the Young Bucks in a ladder of death.
Dia de los Muertos? No,
Muerte de la climbing.
Muerte de la O? Muerte de la... What was it called?
It was ladder to death in Spanish. De la Muerto. What's climb? Because it was climb to death, I think.
De la Muerto?
Yes.
Really? They called it that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you had Lucha Brothers taking on Young Bucks in this match, which was a very good match. There were a few spots that you could tell they messed each other up. Nick Jackson falling through the ladder, through a table, and the landing, he got stuck.
He got stuck at the top rope.
The table, well, through the rubber of the table. He was kind of stuck there, and you could see that he got a splinter, I'm going to call it that, through his hand, and was out the rest of the match. That was pretty bad. You had Lucha Bros go over, and at the end, masked men jump them, take off their mask, and it's LAX, the second incarnation of LAX.
Yes.
Which is Santana
and Ortiz.
And Ortiz, who were free agents for all of a week. And they're back with AEW. Now, they can't use the LAX name. I think the announcer said Los Boricuas, which I've already heard.
So Savio Vega better come back. Savio Vega better come back.
But that was a good match. And then, of course, the main event, Jericho and Adam Page. Now, this one had some backlash right now. And I'm going to say differently. Chris Jericho won the match. Won a very good match. Put Hangman over. Hangman looked great out there. So everyone's saying Jericho buried him. Wrong. And everyone's saying that Jericho shouldn't be champ going into the show. Wrong. You have a company. You're on TV now. Who would you rather have as champion? A guy that no one's ever heard of debuting on TV? Or Chris Jericho that every fan in that crowd is going to know who that is?
The Ayatollah of rock and roll. The man who beat Stone Cold and The Rock in one night.
It's great that all of your fans, all of your loyal fans know who Hangman Page is. That's awesome. You're debuting on TNT. If you debuted with Hangman Page, the broad audience doesn't know who that is.
And guess who also made TNT great? Chris Jericho. This man has transcended generations of wrestling.
Has. Chris Jericho has now held a title in, I can't even name them all.
New Japan,
ECW television champ,
WCW,
WCW. He went back to Japan after. This is a guy that started his career in Japan, grew into a legend, went back to Japan, made it, revitalized himself I don't know how many times. So to sit here and say that he doesn't deserve that title, dead wrong. Just going to say what it is. And I've seen a lot of people, he's burying, he's too old. No. Don't cheer for WWE every time it does it and then boo when AEW does the smart move right now.
Well, I think people are shitting on it because we shitted on WWE for making Brock Lesnar champion.
Brock Lesnar is part-time.
Or
there's
pushing,
nothing part-time about Chris Jericho.
Or pushing guys like John Cena as champions who are older and then we treat it as, Vince doesn't know how to push young talent, so he has to bring The Undertaker back for a Saudi Arabia show. And
not sure why we're getting asked that, but who's better, MJF or Ciampa? Two very different wrestlers.
It is TJ Swab. He's probably
I know. Ciampa is injured right now, but two very, very different wrestlers.
How does TJ Swab know who these guys are? Like, isn't he like 50? Didn't we talk about this?
Canada, Mexico, then Japan. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll get into all the questions. Yeah, Thank you as always, guys, for doing the Q&A's portion. But we'll get back to that. Yeah, the Jericho thing. It's null and void. He deserves to be champ. Done.
And it's not like he's going to be champion for like a year. Like, this is literally just...
we'll see. It's a building process. Of course you want to start with a name brand. But that was AEW. I think that they've constantly been... They're constantly getting better. So we'll see where they go from there. You know, I'm very excited for the debut show because it's kind of one of those wait-and-see moments of I want to see what they pull off for that.
Oh, he's 46. Sorry.
Okay.
TJ.
Yeah, we already said that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That is the wider world of wrestling, NXT UK and that. But I digress. Let's move on because we have a guest.
We have a guest. And our guest is a dear friend of the show, dear friend of the company, a fellow owner and promoter of his own. He owns this lovely facility that we are sitting in right now here in Uptown Stanton. It's my good friend. We actually just went out for lunch earlier, man. It was great. He paid for it too. It was wonderful. My good friend Johnny Malice. We're not doing shoot names here.
I like saying Johnny because he cringes every time.
Yeah, it's great. So, without further ado, Johnny Malice, the man behind OCCW, is in the building.
Good to see you.
How's it going, man?
Good. It's good to see you. Good to see you. You guys are looking good.
We tried, man.
Well fed.
Oh yeah.
And before we start, I just want to take issue with one thing. All right, I realized that we had lunch together, right? Mm-hmm. And I realized that it was Korean barbecue.
Yes, it was.
And I realized we all ate more than we should have, right? But when you see candles in the bathroom with a lighter right next to him, use the damn candles before you have a seat after Korean barbecue. I don't know if it was producer Robert, or I don't know if it was RJ. I don't think it was RJ because he'd be too busy on his phone to light a candle, right?
I usually.
God damn, one of you. I want you to do one of two things: light those candles before you sit down, and B, see a gastroenterologist because something is wrong, and wrong again. Let me ask you this. I'm sorry. Interesting segue, huh?
That was good. That was a good start.
You were talking about Wednesday Night Dynamite.
Wednesday Night Dynamite.
It's going to be called Wednesday Night Dynamite, from what I've heard.
I mean, everyone is saying it. They just, even on the commercials, it says nothing yet.
So yeah, and you guys are like, oh, that's a role. We're going to call it end of a lightning bolt. No, let me tell you something. Nothing wrong with it. Looks like Nitro, right? What should they have called it? C4? Let's call it C4.
Well, I don't think
Wednesday Night C4? That doesn't make any sense. Or better yet, why don't we call it Uncooked?
Uncooked.
Yes. AEW Uncooked. Get it? Raw.
Oh,
it takes a little longer.
That's good. That was good.
So I think that one of the neat things about AEW, aside from their actual in-ring product and the hype that they've stirred up, is that they are doing all kinds of homage, both subtle and blatant.
Right.
Because let's face it, Cody is part of what may ultimately turn out to be the second biggest wrestling family in history. Right. So, he's gonna give a nod to his dad. He's gonna give a nod to his brother. And remember, can you imagine growing up and having Ricky Steamboat over at your house, Ric Flair walking through there, the Road Warriors drinking all your dad's beer, right? Tully Blanchard forgetting to light the candles in the bathroom or something like that. And Arn Anderson, Arn Anderson trying to get the waiter's attention. Hey, can we get some more? But so that would be kind of cool, So yeah, there's gonna be all those nods.
True.
To now, what is this about Bob Backlund?
So we were talking
Bob
earlier,
Backlund.
Okay,
I always take a Q&A, and one of the questions was who did you dislike the most as a champion? And then we put it out there.
You weren't even born when he was champ.
This is true.
We put it out there that to take away the easy ones, we wouldn't say the Arquettes. I wouldn't even say the Khali's. I just looked at a champion that growing up to me didn't draw anything.
Oh, you could not be any more wrong.
When he was champion. Okay, let me point out the one
this was for 5 years, or 6 years. Okay, keep that in mind. Now go on.
The Bob Backlund I grew up with versus the one that you saw is not the same thing.
Oh, you mean like the one who was champion for a day?
So I'm going to put it this way. I'm not going to question his reigns in the 80s. I'm going to, the freak out method of making Bret Hart tap to a chicken wing. That one I didn't like.
But that was like for what, a week? He was champ for a week?
I mean, he held it for...
You can not draw.
Yeah.
He didn't have any shows.
He just didn't have it to me at that point, in my eyes.
Well, he had it, in the ring. But, and it's a shame because Bob Backlund, if you watch his matches, when I was growing up, Bob Backlund's matches were just things of beauty. And back then, the heels, when they had the title, they'd have it for a few months. Mm-hmm. And the faces would have it forever, right?
No.
Has that ever really changed? I mean, were there aside from Ric Flair, were there any long-term heel champions?
JBL's run.
Okay.
Went like a month shy of a year, which is probably the longer one I can remember.
So, but back then, for instance, when I started watching it, Sergeant Slaughter jumped Bob back and started whipping him, right? Mm-hmm. Started whipping him with his riding crop. Mm-hmm. The place was in a frenzy. everyone. I went to the Olympic Auditorium to see that match on that tour. Place was going crazy. People hated Sergeant Slaughter, and you can say what you want, right? You can't get more white meat white meat than Sergeant Slaughter, right?
We all love our white
unless it's Bob Backlund, right? So you could take someone, right, and without having to play the race angle because you had two white boys in there, they absolutely hated Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, in the social climate, the way it is now, no one's ever going to hate on a military guy in the U.S., right? But back then, that was really a hot angle. And then when the Iron Sheik won that title, people were certain, oh, he's going to get that title back. It's going to be a great run. We're going to have our champion back, and the rest is history, you know? So say what you want about that lame incarnation of what was he, like the super nerd or something like that?
Yeah, that kept getting angry, and it was like, oh, don't mess with him when he's angry. I'm like, why? Look at him. Like, this isn't... I can't even because it angers me.
Yeah, it angers me too.
Don't make him angry.
I didn't
that.
Like
yeah, that incarnation of him was such crap that...
But
no wonder that everyone popped when Nash hit him and won in like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
hit him with a power bomb, won the title, and everyone
lose to Kevin Nash, a great champion like Bob Backlund losing to Kevin Nash, that is just wrong. That's like if Ric Flair had to put David Arquette over. You know what I mean? Horrible.
I'd watch that match. To be
no
honest.
love for big sexy Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash. Okay, let's talk about this for a minute. Kevin Nash is everything that was wrong with wrestling, right?
Oh.
You had the star who couldn't work, right, as a champion.
Okay.
Say what you want about Hulk Hogan's in-ring product, right? Kevin Nash's was worse, all right? So he's leaving his company for more money. The company that he was champion of, and they had the lowest friggin' attendance for a champion was Kevin Nash. Look it up. All right.
Facts.
So, okay, now he's leaving for more money, guaranteed money, right? And he's taking his drinking buddy, with him. So what do? They're going to go break kayfabe, and we're going to do a curtain call because it's all about us. I'm Kevin Nash. I'm Diesel, right? This is Razor Ramon. We're leaving for more money. Hey, Madison Square Garden. And what's the residual effect? They slowed down Triple H's career a little bit. That's about it, right?
I won't mention the team shirt that I'm wearing.
Okay, right.
Slowed it for the inevitable, though. I mean, Triple H ended up doing real good.
Yeah, he sure did, right? So he goes to WCW and helps sink that ship. And that thing survived it was Georgia Championship Wrestling, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. It was the NWA. It was WCW, and then it wasn't it? Right? Because he had creative control. What is the favored nations clause in his? Are you familiar with the favored nations clause?
Yes.
Okay, and they had, and he had creative, and then he held the book for a while, and they killed Sting's gimmick.
Yeah.
They dragged that NWO till it killed the WCW gimmick. It killed everything, and then they walked away. Goodbye.
I don't blame Nash for killing the NWO, though. WCW as a whole ran that into the ground. You had something that at one point was the hottest act going.
An accidental angle, yes.
Right. And then, yeah.
Okay,
but then you added Buff Bagwell and Lex Luger, and then...
Well, you could put the blame on Russo, not Russo. Well,
Russo, yeah.
Bischoff, and Hulk Hogan, right? Mm-hmm. But the in-ring killing was done mostly by him because let's say when the face would get in there, and it's whomever, it's Sting, and he's in there. What do? Ooh. They kill. They're the heels. They're supposed to be afraid of the face.
No.
And they just shit all over everyone's gimmick. They publicly held the audience hostage for 20 minutes while they were cutting their ridiculous, too sweet promos. Right? Do you guys remember seeing there? Hey, you know what? They're not wrestling for another 20 minutes. I'm gonna watch Raw. And there was 2 matches in time. Those idiots were there talking.
Was it Nitro 3 hours at one point?
It was 3 hours. It was awesome until Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan got on the mic, and you're like, oh my God, this is worse than a Donald Trump speech.
Oh, well, shit.
I am the least. Yeah. So,
well, because they did like an NWO promo at the start of every hour. Like, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like a different member of the NWO. Like, you had Bischoff and like them start off, and then like Macho Man the second hour, and then, Nash would.
And then he goes over to Impact, right?
Hey, listen.
And runs that. I mean, God
Kevin
help.
Nash, greatest X Division champion of all time.
Right? The X Division.
Greatest
the X Division. That was like the coolest division in history of cool
It was
divisions.
no limits.
Yeah, and he except for him, being able to walk. Yeah, Kevin Nash is everything.
When you're a man
all the
that
bad
tall,
things.
you got bad quads. Like Yao Ming had bad feet.
Then you know what?
Shaq
Walk,
had bad
okay,
knees.
limp away from the business then. All right, you don't see me in there trying to get myself over, with my fake hip, my busted knee. I do that behind the mic. All right.
Look, I mean,
So the first question of that then, and I don't want to hear you say Shawn Michaels, then
Okay.
who was your worst champ in history, throwing out the easy names like
Hulk Hogan. Unfortunately,
I
that
don't
doesn't
disagree.
work. I mean, that's personally, I
Honestly,
hated him
it's
more
hard-
than
yeah.
anything, right? And for all the good he did for the WWF, he did the opposite for WCW.
Agreed.
But okay, that was my first thought. But then when I think about it, running a wrestling business, and you guys just talked about this with Chris Jericho the other day, when he left WWF and went to WCW, remember their TV show, they had to buy ad space and they had to sell ad space,
Right.
and they had to pick up affiliates and all these things. And when you walked into a boardroom with a bunch of executives and you said, okay, I'm in charge of WCW. We would like for you to buy some ad time on us. We have Ric Flair. We have Sting. We have Lex Luger. All these guys are going to look at you like, what? Why would we? We'd never heard it. And then you turn around and say, but I have Hulk Hogan. They're going to be like, oh, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Right? Hulk Hogan. Ask your girlfriend who, ask your girlfriend, because I know your girlfriend probably knows. Ask your girlfriend who
this is like a rhetorical question. Because I don't have a girlfriend.
okay, yes, I guess so. Ask your girlfriend which one of her favorite Young Bucks is. She could be like, but then you turn around and say,
She'd
hey.
probably be like Young Buck, like the rapper from G Unit.
There you go. And then you turn around and say, hey, you want to go get a autograph signing with Hulk Hogan? She'll say yes or no, probably no, but she'll know who Hulk Hogan is, right? The wrestler. And it was the same kind of thing, right? And so by putting Chris Jericho as your champ, that's a business decision. That's as smart as you can get. Maybe I can't think of anyone else. If you had Goldust as your champion, you might have something good too. But anyone on that roster, I mean, as great as the Young Bucks are, they're not a mainstream name. See this flyer here? I came to talk about my show, but I tried to give a flyer to a guy in a Bullet Club shirt the other day. I said, hey, you like wrestling? Here you go. What? Wrestling. Yeah, I see your shirt.
Just
it's
like the Bullets.
I saw this shirt at Hot Topic. It was on sale.
Exactly. I'm like, give me that flyer back. You're a disgrace.
Yeah.
Give me that shirt too, bitch. So no, I didn't do that, but I thought about saying.
Probably like a teenager. You just-
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you don't know who the Bullet Club is? What? Hangman Pierce? Oh yeah, I have that shirt too. Eat a bag of shit, you punk.
I mean,
You millennial.
Damn millennial.
Wow.
I don't have a problem with millennials.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me neither.
So who was the worst champ? The worst champ? Okay, well, I want to say Hulk Hogan in WCW, right? Not in the WWF.
Right.
The one who took the company down, though, I was going to have to say, would have been...
Technically, Scott Steiner was the last WCW champion.
Was he?
So.
It wasn't Booker T?
So did we put the title on Booker T
Oh.
or as soon as they bought it?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. The worst champion. I'm going to go with Diesel.
All right.
I'm going to go with Diesel. Diesel, I mean, that's when people completely lost interest in WWF. That's when that gave rise to WCW, because they put on their Monday Nitro, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go with Diesel. It's probably the worst champion ever.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as he won the title, I mean, he kind of got put in some weird situations. He had to main event SummerSlam against King Mabel. No. Lex Luger went to WCW the week after, and I can see it.
The guy couldn't wrestle to begin with. You guys remember Oz? You guys remember
Oz
Vinny
the Great and
Vegas?
Powerful.
Right? No, you don't. You never saw it, right? Because that was on pay-per-view. I remember, it was so funny. You'll like this. You'll like this, Joe, because it's not on your phone. Oh, where's my phone? Hold on. All right, now I feel like I
There you go.
Looking at the comments
Hey,
on
babe,
the
send me
show.
some love messages. On my...
Cut that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. What was I going to say? Oh, okay, so it was the Great American Bash pay-per-view. It was after Ted Turner had bought it. I actually had a job, so I could buy pay-per-views. I had my own apartment and everything, so I bought this pay-per-view, and for months they hyped Oz is coming, Oz is coming. Oz, it was Kevin Nash, and they had this elaborate walkout, and I forgot who it was. It was like Jim Powers or Paul Roma, something like that. Boom, quick squash match, right?
No.
And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a big deal for that, right? So the next pay-per-view it's an even bigger thing. Oz, right, is wrestling Ron Simmons. So, and Ron Simmons is just Ron Simmons. He never had anything flashy. Ron Simmons was fucking awesome, right? He was badass. He comes out there after, and they would do like little vignettes. Oz. Welcome to Oz. Right? Or this little midget walk out with the mask on like he was like one of the Munchkins, I guess it was supposed to be. Yeah. And they had all this green lights and strobes and this elaborate entrance in. And Oz comes out and Ron Simmons beats him. Ron Simmons pins him 1, 2, 3, and then we never saw Oz again. And then I think Vinny Vegas came next, and
was it? Yeah, I can't remember which one's first.
Yeah, but it was. I was like, dude, it just showed you how messed up WCW was. I mean, you don't push someone to do the job on, right? Does that make any sense?
No.
But anyway, I don't want to talk about that.
Let's get into why you came on.
I came in to talk. There's a couple things. Last night we did one of the Secret Wars. We will have those up on our podcast later. Not this podcast, our podcast. But I have no problem sending content to these guys because these guys are actually pretty all right. One of the few people in this business I don't have beef with because you know why? I'll tell you why. Because they're one of the few people in this business that is honest. All right. That said,
tough.
Honesty is
so
the best
hard
policy.
To do.
What?
If you don't get along with me, chances are it's because you're dishonest. Okay. I'm not mentioning any names. Should we mention some names?
Hey.
Oh, no, we like just being...
I'll do that.
Let's just wave to everyone.
What's up, guys? Hey.
Let's wave to all those dishonest people.
How's it going?
All right. So, Saturday, September 14th, that's 2 weeks from yesterday, we have Orange County Championship Wrestling's Next Level. Once again, exciting professional wrestling action at American Legion Post 716 in Los Alamitos. You will see the rebirth of Lou Tap Out Tapia as he takes on one half of La Raza, Alexander Vega. You will see for the tag team title, the team of Modern Justice. That's Eddie Escrima and Chris Camacho, the newly paired team, against the current Orange County Championship Wrestling champions, Thunder and Lightning. You guys are familiar with Thunder and Lightning. What is
my man B.A. Marcus Frey.
We love B.A.
Wait a minute, isn't he your friend and then
Azrael's
your friend?
No, we'll all get into this.
Yeah,
Azrael is
that's how it goes.
I like Azrael when he's alone or with BA. I don't like Azrael when he's hanging out with those friends of his.
You know,
in DI.
And let me just put this up for you. Have you had friends like that before? Let's say like that they were really cool when you were around, and then they got around their other friends, and you're like, I hope I'm not as douchey as those guys that you like to hang out. Like, for instance, like the guy that grows up in your neighborhood, but he goes to a different school.
Right.
And then you go to his birthday party, and his friends from his school are...
like scumbags.
Yeah, or douchebags,
yeah.
right? And you're like... And they, that's really weird. Or a guy you work with, right? You meet his fraternity friends, and they're douchebags, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Especially
Azrael, you have it good with BA. Stick with
Shout
him.
USC.
Stick with him.
Do you like our new cubicle?
Oh, I like it.
This is much nicer than our
Don't reach
shed.
through the wall, RJ. Hold on. You're going to break
Are we in a
something.
simulation? Is this the Matrix? Are we going to die? Oh, God.
I mean, we don't get the sweet view out that you get on.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's because you guys are in the mid-level.
Yeah,
We're on
yeah,
the penthouse. You guys are on the 13th floor.
This was the cheapest studio.
We got no furniture, nothing.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
You gotta get at least a flower.
Yeah, where do we
pot
have our guests sit on the floor?
You know what?
guys. We're sorry.
Sheridan's going to watch this, and next time I come in, there's going to be flowers and all kinds of paintings.
Sponsored by Panera Bread.
And it's going to smell good, you know.
gonna be
Unlike the
great.
bathroom that you guys ruined after Korean
I have
barbecue.
no idea. It was like that when I got here.
All right, so that's our tag team title, all right? For the Lucha Pro heavyweight title, we have the inimitable Gusten Thunder Ubersud. He will be taking the other half of La Raza, Freddie Flores, fighting Freddie Flores from Philadelphia.
He's from Philadelphia?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. Well, you know, he's Puerto Rican.
Ooh.
Right? So, you know, I think that's East Coast type stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why being Puerto Rican would have anything to do with Philadelphia. I'm just saying. He's not Mexican, is what I'm saying. So, all right, so we have Fighting Freddie Flores and Gusten Uberstud. And if you've seen Gusten Uberstud in action last night, you would be amazed. I'm going to get that footage. I'm going to put it up or I'll send it to you guys. And you can use it on your next show. It was absolutely fantastic. There is a lot of animus between him and Freddie Flores, especially after last night. We'll have that up on Tuesday night for us to see on the Royal Rumble. Don't miss out on that. we also have Freddie Helmuth, your other friend from DI. He's going to be taking on a newcomer, Joey Baroni. Have you seen Joey Baroni?
I've heard of him. Yeah.
I like that guy.
Newcomer to the OCCW. He comes looking like Captain America, which I can't imagine anyone doing that, coming with a shield to the ring. Well, fantastic wrestler, strong support from his friends and family showing up, and he's just an all-around positive influence in the ring on the kids. He's going to be taking on Freddie Helmuth. So you can't have two diametrically more opposed people than those two. Your thoughts on that?
Let's go, Joey.
I hope he beats Freddie Helmuth. Yeah. I mean,
Right.
Helmuth,
yeah.
And, Helmuth is another guy that, your friends, and especially him, because both personally and professionally, I'm like, how can you be friends with some of those guys? But in OCCW, he has a different tack than he does at GCF. Like, he'll be like, hey, John, I don't know if that guy's good for OCCW, or I don't know what that guy's intentions are for OCCW. So despite his personal issues with people, he always puts the company first.
Where is that for us? He's caning me in the head. Yeah. He's off with his little friends. Yeah.
Does he hate us?
And he absolutely is beside himself with the Lucha Pros doing to the OCCW. Because while you may have been on the wrong side of the rule book for years, he knows where he gets his check signed, and he is definitely pro OCCW. So, you know what? Maybe we just live in two different worlds, like the Matrix, right? Yeah. There's reality, and then there's the Matrix. And so...
So GCF is in the Matrix?
So just separate all of them.
I'll let you decide which one.
We're like,
so they might be good people if they just get away from each other.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
Might be onto something there.
Or if we just kill them.
I mean, you just keep paying BA to do what he's doing, and you don't have to talk about that on the air.
Yes. Ain't nobody killing.
I thought we were talking about the Matrix Reloaded, like where everybody dies.
God, come on, man.
Yeah, I
sorry.
I can't even remember that movie. So, all right. We also have Mikey O'Shea, the Irish Juggernaut, will be taking on... See, now it slips me because I didn't write it down. The Irish Juggernaut will be taking on... We're going to get back to you on that. In our main event, the challenger, Damon Devine, all the way from... Is it Singapore? Is that where he was? Is it mainland China?
Yeah. Shanghai.
OWE is where he's been?
Yeah, OWE. What does that stand for?
Oriental Wrestling
Oriental?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wrestling
I guess the Chinese can call it Oriental, huh? Yeah, anyway, it was... Now, you know what? I can't wait to get him back and talk to him a little bit about this, because I want to find out if that was like a state-run type of organization or what. I mean, it should be interesting to see, and see how wrestling is there.
Right.
I mean, you can see it on TV, but just everything else,
Think he learned any cool like Chinese moves while he was out there? Like
Chinese moves?
Like how like John Cena learned like that new
his
like
sixth move of
karate
doom was a chop because he was off filming with Jackie Chan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You think Damon Devine learned like
Oh, he's a big dude.
I mean,
he's a big strong cat. So anything he learned has got to be
like a nice spin kick or
right.
Like a roundhouse.
Just instantly karate with you? God. Yeah.
That's Kung Fu. Kung Fu's Chinese. Kung Fu. Chinese is Kung Fu.
That's what I'm saying.
Chinese
is maybe a spin kick. I don't know.
Well, it's all universal at the end of the day, ain't it? Like,
no.
RJ.
No. That's like saying, arriba, yoga, arriba, right? Or namaste, motherfucker. It just doesn't work out.
I mean, there's probably some yoga instructors that do that.
I'm not saying anything.
I don't know anybody.
Are you going to pull that? Huh?
I'm not pulling that. That's BA's job.
I mean, BA told me to say it, but I don't.
BA told you to say it?
BA literally just told me to say it, but I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, because we're friends, right?
We're friends, and I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't know what like kind of undertone that has, so I'm not gonna do it out of respect for you sitting right next to me and her sitting on the floor in the studio.
She's sitting on the floor. She's sitting on the couch.
The floor. There was no furniture.
Gotcha. All right.
Why are you trying to kill kayfabe? Sitting on the floor. Yeah. Good.
Vintage Dragon is the Orange County Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, much to my chagrin, much to the chagrin of any true wrestling fan who appreciates honor and justice. Unfortunately, Damon Devine is going to not only have to contend with Vintage Dragon, but half the Lucha Pro roster. We've got your back, Damon Devine. We've got that covered. Don't you worry a thing about it. All right? So we have a full card. We have other matches, and when I remember exactly who I have Mikey matched up. How could I forget? Freddie Havoc. You know, the stalwart, hardcore, hard-edged, tough, badass motor scooter with a cast-iron jaw and 2 fists of stone will be taking on Mikey, the Irish Juggernaut O'Shea. Tickets are $15 pre-sale, $20 at the door. We have them on sale. We're almost sold out. Believe it or not, we've had an early run on it. So make sure you get your tickets in early and often. Bring your friends. Bring your neighbors, bring your family, bring your enemies. As long as they buy a ticket and maybe a few concessions, we'll be good.
Get them while you can, guys.
Doors open at 5:30 p.m. Bell time is at 6 p.m. Remember, that is Orange County Championship Wrestling's next level. Saturday, September 14th. You can't see it because it's just not. It just doesn't. Yeah, September 14th. At American Legion Post 716 in Los Alamitos, 3252 Florissa Street. Do not dare miss it.
Will there be meatball subs at this show?
There will be. Not only is Mama Della O making meatball subs, she's also doing the homemade tamale thing.
Oh, shit.
So for those of you who are not into meatball subs, because I hate to say it, but frankly, it upsets my stomach. I'm a little bit older. Upsets my stomach a little bit.
Just take an acid reducer.
Yeah. It's like Tums or,
you know what? I need
Zantac.
Eat them like
Pepto.
candy.
Yeah.
Pepto-Bismol. Imodium. AD.
Imodium.
That's what one of you needs after friggin' blowing up the bathroom down after Korean barbecue. I think you should have that in, like, you know how you go into a nightclub and they have those dispensers. You get your.
You just have that.
Yeah, they should have some Imodium and Pepto-Bismol in there instead of condoms and ice
dang!
drops.
I was gonna say condoms. I was like, maybe some of the wrestlers need some.
Which one? Come on, those guys couldn't pull if they were a friggin' tow truck.
I hear Gooston does pretty well.
I heard
Gooston did real well
I heard
last
Gooston
night.
be killing in the
And
streets,
hey,
man.
Gooston Uberstude, if you're out there watching, I want to give you congratulations on your non-poll last night. We'll talk about that. That was at Secret Wars in downtown USC. Lucha Pro versus OCCW outside of OCCW. Outside of the OC, outside of Lucha Pro's arena. We'll have more on that tomorrow. I have a question for you guys. All right,
Yeah, absolutely.
This is interesting. Your favorite wrestling movie? Now, it doesn't have to be a movie about wrestling. It could have wrestlers in their semi-character. For instance, like Hobbs and Shaw. Could be considered a wrestling type of movie because of all the wrestlers that were in it. But I don't think that would really. But wrestling movie where wrestling was a theme, or at least.
Ready to Rumble beat you to
well,
that movie sucks ass.
I was just saying, I did not like.
How could you like that movie?
That movie was funny.
That movie was so bad.
And it literally led to David Arquette winning the
It led
championship.
to the death of WCW. Like, if there was a nail in the coffin, that was it.
It was
Really
Ready to
seen
Rumble.
that movie.
Oliver Stone killed WCW. Is that what we're saying?
Direct that? Oliver Stone directed Ready
Oliver
to Rumble.
Stone?
No, Oliver Platt.
Oliver is who you're
Platt.
thinking
Yeah,
of.
sorry.
Who played Jimmy Keene in that.
Yeah, right.
I will rule you.
And how on earth can someone say, "Hey, because he's fat, we're gonna make him he's a wrestler"?
Essentially playing Jerry Lawler in a WCW movie.
Oh, is that what that was?
Well, yeah, because he was the
Oh,
King.
the King. That's right.
I can't really think of other movies. I hated No Holds Barred, so I can't say that for a wrestling movie.
What about this? What about The Wrestler?
The Wrestler was
This
a
was a good
very
movie.
well done film.
You don't think it glorified? You don't think it glorified indie wrestling?
I mean, it absolutely did.
I mean, the guy had a job. The guy had a car. The guy had his own apartment. What kind of indie wrestler has that?
I mean, it probably exposed a lot of people
deli
to
and a
wrestling.
grocery
Yeah, like,
store.
And that guy that he worked for. Now when I say wrestling movies,
fell in love with the stripper.
Yeah, no.
I mean, maybe that's a bit
That
fitting
can go
for the
to
business.
anything, yeah.
If it's a movie just with a wrestler
With
in
wrestler,
it,
for instance, one
Princess Bride, Andre the Giant.
that was a good one. That was really good. I liked The Condemned with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, that was that was good.
You know, that's a movie that just. It's one of those movies that deserved a better fate than it got. You know, and as I thought. Because at that time, that's when that movie came out. He and The Rock were both starting their film careers. I thought Stone Cold Steve Austin was a much more interesting character on the big screen than The Rock was, right?
I would agree, yeah.
But for some reason,
All 6 of the Marines.
Was he in all 6 of those?
Well, no, I was saying, like, in general.
Cena was in 1, and then
Ted DiBiase,
Jr., who's a name you never hear anymore, was in the second one, and then it was The Miz after that.
The Miz. I'm sorry. I just want, I don't see The Miz as a tough guy.
No.
He would be a perfect Smith from The Matrix, don't you think? He'd be like the new Smith. Mr. Anderson. Yeah, no.
I just don't buy. Like well, and I could buy The Miz in wrestling as long as he's getting his ass kicked. I can't buy The Miz in films. I don't. He's not believable.
What? He's not a believable Marine.
He's not a believable actor. I'm sorry.
What about? Did you guys see Fighting with My Family?
I didn't.
Paige's movie?
Yeah.
No.
No. The one in the theater. It's not Paige's other movie.
Oh, I was gonna say. I mean, I've seen Paige's movie.
You want to know why I didn't see that movie? It was out of protest. And do you know why? Do you know why?
No.
Do you have any idea?
No.
Let's talk about the title. Fighting with My Family.
It had nothing to do with her.
When it was probably submitted as a script, it was probably called Wrestling with My Family.
Oh, yeah.
But the producers did not want to use wrestling because that shit's fake. So they called it Fighting with My Family. Do you know anybody in wrestling who refers to their matches as fighting, refers to wrestling as fighting, makes any sort of indication that what we do is fighting? Last time I heard anyone calling wrestling fighting was Roddy Piper.
You're going to the fights tonight.
Yeah. So that was a slap in the face of the people who really would have supported her. So yeah. So that's why I didn't see it. That's why I will not see it. That and The Rock I'm sorry, The Rock. Dwayne Johnson. But Hobbs and Shaw was pretty good. So if you get a chance to see Hobbs and Shaw, definitely see it.
Roman dies. Just spoil. Boss Man Malice. That's what Esteban.
Hey, 10 Bears. How you doing, 10 Bears? We still got room on the roster for you if you are bored with your union job working a crane for $85 an hour and you want to come back to the lucrative life of professional independent wrestling. We got plenty of room for you. But anyway,
do you want to fund these shows? That's what he said.
Yeah. We're gonna say, you want to advise? You want to buy a ring? All right, hey, it's good to see you, 10 Bears. I hope everything's going well.
We also had Phoenix Kid joining on this podcast.
Phoenix Kid.
It is his job to kill Helmuth.
Kid, don't say
you definitely busted Helmuth open last time. He would love to see you guys fight that one out. Yeah.
There you go. Wrestle it out.
Wrestle that one out. Yeah.
All right, so I just want to thank you guys once again. Orange County Championship Wrestling presents Next Level. That's Saturday, September 14th. American Legion Post 716, 3252 Florista Street, Los Alamitos, California. Doors open at 5:30. Bell times at 6 p.m. Pre-sale tickets, which I have on me right now, and I'll sell you a couple to you. It's $15. The door is $20. So if and when you want to see these guys. You probably aren't going to pay to come see me, right? But your old lady did. No, I'm kidding. But come to American Legion Post 716, see the best wrestling in town. I want to thank my hosts.
Thank you, as always, for coming.
RJ Wallace, Joseph Saint. Sorry, I don't like it when people call me Johnny. I know you don't like it when people call you Joey.
Or
right?
just Joe.
Or just Joe. Just Joe. Or Jojo.
Jojo.
Mojo Jojo. Do you remember that cartoon?
Yes, Powerpuff Girls. I love Powerpuff Girls.
Show. Anyway, I digress. Thank you all. We hope to see you out there. May all your bumps be in the ring.
Oh.
Is that
Damn. That was profound. I like that.
Don't you watch my podcast?
No, I do. But that was great. Because usually your podcasts end in chaos, so you know.
Wait.
Yeah,
we're still here. That was
Mr.
Malice's sign off, guys. No, don't go anywhere yet. We got a few left.
Don't leave.
Thank you. Definitely don't want to miss out on that one. I can tell you right now that Mikey, I definitely want to see that match. Havoc versus Mikey O'Shea.
It's a good match.
Yeah.
It's a good location outdoors.
Let's see here, guys. I'm going to open up the Q&A that I always do every week. Remember, tune into the Instagram, and you can send in those questions. It's available every Sunday before these shows. Let's see if we got one. We only got a couple questions this week, and it was... Let me see here. One was, did I see Ronda's injury, and is it going to affect her in the ring? If you saw Ronda Rousey's injury...
Back?
Is she coming back? I mean, yeah. More than
I know she's
likely.
on Total Divas this season.
Well, if you're on Total Divas, you're going to keep your job. Is it going to affect her in the ring? Yeah, it is. Any injury is going to affect you in the ring. However, a finger injury is a little less to deal with than, say, anything else in wrestling. I don't think the finger is going to stop her from doing the submission holds that she's got.
No. I mean, it should be fine.
Yeah. And then last question that we got here. Let me see here. Phoenix, if you got a question, ask the question.
Phoenix Kid has questions.
Phoenix Kid's got a damn question. Ask away. I'm waiting. Because other than that, the last question here. Ooh, we should have kept John around for this question. The last question we had was, you say wrestling a lot. What is the difference between wrestling and wrestling? Well, let me see here in a polite way of saying this. It's the difference between wrestling and sports entertainment, too. I'll put it that way. Wrestling, when I say it, has an old school connotation. Wrestling is very 80s branded, and wrestling is more back south, I should say. Yeah, we'll put it that way. When I say wrestling, usually I'm referring to the old territory days. And that's the nicest way I could say it. Wrestling is what we do. Wrestling is what GCF presents. You're not going to see all the wrestling on our show. So that was that question. Phoenix Kid, when will you guys let me take care of the DI issue so we can all move on?
Oh.
Phoenix, if you're offering, I mean, would love to see it. I know that you got some issues there. Let's settle this. Let's talk soon. But on that note, guys, we have one last announcement before we call it for this week.
All right.
You know when OCCW's next show is. You want to see that. Trust us. However, GCF.
Our next show is coming 2 weeks after that. Sunday, September 29th.
September 29th.
On the first floor of this lovely building here in Uptown Stanton. Here in the lovely De La O Dojo. GCF will be back for our next show.
September 29th.
Can we say the name of the show?
Let's say the name of the show. GCF presents
Big Trouble in Little Dojo.
Boom. September 29th, you're going to see us. GCF presents Big Trouble in Little Dojo.
Shout out to our creative team for coming up with these names to these shows, man.
I mean, this was the first one they named. After that, I named every other one.
Listen.
But yeah, good job, guys. So there you have it, guys. September 29th, come see us.
Big Trouble in Little Dojo.
That's getting some likes.
Oh, shit.
We got more news coming for you soon on that. Obviously, you're going to see all of our people in action. You're going to see some belts defended. We'll come back next week with far more information.
We haven't mentioned our champion, Chris Cadillac, in like
forever. It's been nice, hasn't it?
Yeah, like I feel like uplift, like I feel good.
So, Caddy, come on down too, because we'll have more for you on September 29th. That's
he's
for
gonna
damn
have
sure.
to. He's signed the.
Well, if he doesn't, he can always just give me the title.
Yeah,
but,
we can
just
Destination
vacate
6
it.
this shit real nice. No.
All right, guys. On that note, we're coming next week with far more info for you. Tune in to Matt's and Mark's. Now I know. Now I just got John's statement in my head.
Sorry, yeah.
Remember, guys, leave it on the mat, or you're just another mark. We'll see you next week.
And don't do bumps that aren't in the ring.